Hello, ladies. Welcome back. I know it has been a minute since we have been on the screen, since we have chatted about sports, and a lot has happened. So thank you for tuning in. I have been a guest with another podcaster that I met that does sports. He has his own show, so I've been on there, but I haven't gotten to talk to my lovely Meredith about some of our sports. So I'm
Girl talk.
excited. Yes.
Yes.
And there's some topics that have been going around that I'm like, we just need a woman's perspective on this
Yes.
as well to jump in. So I'm glad to have you back.
I'm happy to be
Um,
back.
yes, for us to chat and get back to things. So let's just go ahead and jump
Jump right
into
into
what
it. Just get to
has
it.
been the biggest talk over the last couple of days. So to
48
recap
hours.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
To recap everyone, Sunday was the final four for the not the
Yep.
W,
Yeah.
the women's college tournament.
The national
Um,
championship.
and then for the national championship, no, that was Sunday. Friday was
Yes.
the
Friday
final
was
four.
Final Four.
So that's where things got interested because South Carolina number one got beat by Iowa, which has the best player in the nation. She is actually the
Her name is
national
Caitlin
best
Clark,
player.
which I'm sure
Caitlin
if you've
Clark.
been anywhere for the last
Yes.
48 hours, you've heard about her.
And LSU made it, and this is their first time making it since ever. They made it to the Final Four before, I believe.
I think they've
Um,
made it 4 times, like four or
yeah,
five times. But they've never made it past the
yes.
Final Four. So they've never made it to the national championship.
This is
But
their
they
first time in
did
the national championship.
after
And I
defeating.
think for both men
Yeah.
and women at LSU.
Yes.
So
Yes. This is
it's
the
just pretty
first
big.
one in basketball, like history for
Right.
LSU.
And it's big because Kim Mulkey, who is the head coach, came from Baylor, which she has won 4 rings, I believe, there. 3 or 4.
I think three.
Um, but yeah, 3. This is her 4th. And
Yeah.
so she came, this is her second year, and she was able to do this. Well, LSU has one of the another great player. There's a couple of great players within college basketball right now on various teams, but Angel Reese is a great one.
Alexis
Floje,
Morris and Floja.
Alexis Morris. Those are some of the big names, but some others off the bench stepped up, like Jasmine
Jasmine.
Carson. She stepped up in this final game and really did great. But Angel Reese,
I just want to say, sorry, also, I remembered we went to, because one of the games was here. They played
did
Michigan and Jasmine Carson. Sorry, I don't
Jasmine.
know what Whitney Carson is someone else. Jasmine Carson was hitting threes. Like she did like 2 or 3 back to back, like against Michigan, which was like before even Sweet 16. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. She's doing so great. So I literally was at brunch on Saturday with my family, and they're like, oh, because of the Iowa game against South Carolina, Caitlin Clark was just hitting the threes after the threes after the threes. And they were like, I don't know if LSU can do the threes. And I literally
I
said, I was
thought
like,
the same.
yeah. And I was like, actually, and I will say this right now. I don't know if I would have like remembered this if I wouldn't have been like at the actual game. But I was like, no, Carson could do it. Like if they play Carson, Carson can do it. And of course, I
Yeah,
was just saying it because I literally saw it in game 2. But I was
yeah.
like, so I was just on fire watching her on
No,
fire.
she was.
In
She
game
had
2, like in the
15
final game.
points in the first quarter of that
So
game, which
great.
is crazy.
So great. Like
But
and she deserved recognition, but
oh yes, yes.
unfortunately there was another thing that got all the
Yeah.
attention.
So yeah, so Angel Reese is a trash talker. She has done it and has been called out for it because she shows her passion. But so is Caitlin Clark, who we mentioned is on the Iowa, and she has done that throughout the season too. And her big thing that she had been doing was you can't see
See
me,
me? Yeah.
the wrestler John
Cena.
Cena.
Yeah.
Um,
And she did
so
it against Louisville, like literally less than a week
it,
ago.
it was
She had
just
done it.
some trash talking that wasn't
She
quote
was
nice
trash talking because
against
she
South Carolina in the Final Four. And I'm saying, quote, not nice because that's what people are saying. I think they're competitors. They're on the court. Like, that's how you do, the guys do
she
it.
was dishing. She
Uh,
was dishing.
but yeah, she was, and they're competitors. But So at the end of the game, Angel Reese, there might have been some seconds left on the thing, but they pretty much had won because they blew out Iowa. But Angel Reese
which
kind of
no one
did
expected.
no. And I'll say I thought it was going to be a little bit tougher because of what Iowa did to South Carolina. But I also said because Caitlin does everything for that team, I was like, she has to
Exactly.
retire.
Well, and I
And
don't
I
know if
feel
you
like she burned her
remember,
out
like,
a little
so
bit. She still was
and
on fire.
I fell asleep in the middle of the Iowa and South Carolina game. I was also fighting sickness. It's not that I was boring. I was just sick. But I in the first half of the Iowa versus South Carolina game, she was in foul trouble. Like they had fouls. So it was kind of like, oh snap, like what's gonna happen? And I think she have to sit out? I think she had to sit at some point because
Yeah.
she was in, and I
And
remember
are you
just
talking about
thinking
in this game or the game before?
the game before. I think
No,
they
she
had to
does
like,
have, yeah,
yes,
they do sit
because
her for some time because she
so
gets
a part
pissed.
of me was like, if that's like where I was like, I would just be watching this being like, oh, we just got to get her to foul us. Like that's
Yeah,
that.
which
I mean,
she
not that
did
like we were
have,
cheating, but like
which
that's
she
what,
did have three
yeah.
fouls
No, she did. No, she got four. She had four at
for
one point.
before halftime. So that wasn't
Yes.
good.
No, like she had four. No, I think she had four. I think she got her fourth and third in the,
Well, then she
yeah.
had three. She had a lot
Three. She had three
before
before
halftime.
half. Before half. Yeah.
And so
And
she
so she
did
had to
she did
sit a
sit
lot
down.
during the half. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I said that to say I saw her at the South Carolina game and I was like, if you get her to foul, they're screwed because she is the only person on Iowa's team. Like, yes, she had some others who also got fouled out in the national championship, which
Yeah.
really made them weaker. But like Caitlin was the only one who was doing anything. And I have to say this, and this is probably not following the flow of our podcast, but with all of this nonsense that we're eventually going to get to, or that we are getting into, I have really lost respect for Barstool Sports, and not even like I had a lot of respect for them to begin with, but I
That's
literally, I don't know if you saw what the president tweeted about Angel Reese, and I'm not even going to give that attention right now, but I was like, how ignorant and closed-minded of you. And
well,
I did
let
call,
us
yeah,
let us
but
say
sorry, there's
what
another
Angel
thing,
did though, so
but
that we
sorry,
can
yeah.
catch people up. But go ahead. Go ahead.
But there was another thing that they did was that I just saw this other video, and I don't even know their names because I'm not even going to give them that much satisfaction of quoting them. But they were like, I feel like LSU, because you, just to echo what you just did, you started this whole conversation about talking about how we had Floje, Angel Reese, and we had Alexis Morris, and we had a great, like, those are three people I can tell you right now that we're starting. And these guys were saying, LSU, Kilmulkey makes it all about herself. I couldn't tell you a single person starting LSU on Sunday because Kim Mulkey has made it all about herself. And a part of me just gets really, yeah, or like, but also if you watch any interview with Kim Mulkey, she's never talking about herself. You all talk about her. So like, sorry, I saw this like right before we filmed and I was like, I can't wait to talk about this because I'm just like, but you're not doing your job and you're not watching the right stuff. That if you think that if you couldn't name Angel Reese before Sunday, then you haven't been watching all year.
No,
Much
yeah.
less the series. Like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Lost Barstool Sports for me because
Well, I already
that. And then the other thing is what the president said about Angel Reese because she did the You Can't See Me mixed with, I guess we call it the Joe Burrow
wait,
now.
what president are you talking about of LSU?
No, for Barstool Sports.
Oh.
He
Okay, go ahead.
called her a classist.
Yeah.
And which I think, and I remember like just kind of as a journalism person, that was a moment that I was on Twitter and I was like, this is gonna blow up because
Well, yeah, and there
already
was a
you can
lot more
tell that
people.
there's going to be no, and it was everywhere. Like I think it was because it happened like that. Even Caitlin Clark says she didn't even see it because she was just focused in
Well,
the
okay, so
game.
we're going into it, but I don't think we finished like what it was for those that
You
didn't
said the
see.
John Cena thing.
Well, but I mean, she went in. No, that's what Caitlin did. So I didn't finish what Angel did to where this is all talking. So Caitlin did that, but then Angel at the end did John Cena in front of Caitlin and kind of followed her and also did her ring finger, but she did it in her face when they had won. So that's where it blew up when Angel did it versus Caitlin doing it. She did the same thing, but because they were saying she did it. So I just wanted to make that clear because we
Yeah.
were in the middle of saying that so that people know, because I think I stopped on Caitlyn. That was her thing. And Angel did it back to her when they won,
Yeah.
but the game wasn't over. But they were up. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure people knew that that's what we were talking about.
But I also
When
feel like
people
you wouldn't be
started to say
listening
they
to
were
this if
placing.
you didn't see it. Because I feel like it's
Well,
been everywhere. Because I feel like it's not.
I did meet someone that
Yeah.
didn't know quite yet because they hadn't like paid attention. And I mean, it depends on who you follow. So, or they saw it but don't understand it because they didn't watch the game and don't know Caitlyn.
Yes.
I think too.
I don't
But
hang out with those people. So.
I'm shocked too when people, I'm like, wait, what?
I'm like, where have you been? Because it's been a whole thing and it's gotten the attention of every. And I think I'm really pissed that this is like what we're finally talking about women's basketball. And it wasn't even. I don't, it's such a complex thing because obviously I'm going to come out and say it. There's obviously race attached to this.
Yeah.
Because, and literally I'm going to be honest. I didn't know who Caitlin Clark was before Friday. And
No, I don't
know
watch
that
Iowa. So
who
I
would?
watched South Carolina and LSU.
But like, because again, I don't know
In
anyone from
Stanford.
Iowa. And she is great to watch. Will I remember Caitlin Clark for the rest of my life? Absolutely. Will I be seeing her? She's coming back for her senior year. Yes, we're going to be seeing her. But my point
And you
was,
weren't the
I
only
never
one,
saw her,
there
and
was
the only
athletes
reason
too.
I saw her is because of her trash talking. That she literally told some girl in some braids. I don't know if it was Louisville. I guess it was Louisville. And she told her, "Hey, you're down by 15 points. Shut up."
Yeah.
Which is great, girl. Own your game. Do it. And so I was literally in a room with people when Angel Reese was doing this. They were like, "Oh, no, no." And I was like, "No, no, no." I was like, because I did my homework. And I was like, and Caitlin's been doing this all March Madness. She's been doing this, and yeah, Angel can do that.
But
she can do that. And then there's that whole complex of like, oh, like as soon as everyone cheered Caitlin on, and then they were against Angel doing it. And there's obviously because of like that. I hate that. Like as soon as Angel did it, it all of a sudden became about class and dignity and how like there are certain ways that we're
not the
supposed to
first time
play.
for African Americans to feel that way, you know.
Exactly. But I'm just kind of like annoyed.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know it's easy for me to say that I'm annoyed because I'm this like white girl in the middle of 2023. But it's also like I'm also so proud of Angel Reese because she didn't deny anything. And she sat there and she said, like, you've been talking nonsense about me all year. And like, and when other people do it, y'all don't say anything. She's paying attention. I hate that like we treat these girls like they aren't, or these young women that they aren't like aware of what they're doing and what their like their impact. Angel Reese has owned herself from day one. And it's not like she had an easy start. She went where? Maryland, and she had like she was number 2 ranked in the country.
Angel also said that has been her thing, which is a lot with a lot of Black people, that they've had to deal with that her whole life, and she's been playing
and I think it's
basketball,
great to
and
put
she grew up with guys playing just like Caitlyn, and that's why they both are so aggressive on the court, which is,
and I think that's
great.
What's needed. But I also feel like it's like I feel like it started as a race thing, and then it blew into or it morphed into / ran into like its watercolors going into other colors that like women. And so sorry, this is something very passionate to me because I literally wrote a thesis about how women are depicted differently in the sports place than men. It's called Sporty or Slutty. I'm happy to tell anyone about it whenever they want to. But it was about how men could do all these things and people would be like, oh, he's athletic. He can do no wrong. This is a part of his job. And as soon as the woman did the same thing, they all of a sudden are like, oh no, that's not classy.
Right. Because we have society roles that we're supposed to do, but when you're on the court playing, and I think it was Carrie Champion that said it was either her or Joy or Matt. So there's 3 of them that they said along the same lines, but people weren't watching women's basketball because it was Joy Taylor, because she said men weren't watching because they said it wasn't entertaining enough. They didn't know the characters and it just wasn't aggressive. It wasn't good basketball. Now it is. They're doing the exact same thing, but now they have stuff to say about it.
But now they're bitching. And it's
And
like, what
so
did you
that's
want?
right. And so, like, if you look at it, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were just like Caitlyn and Angel.
Yeah.
It was like they went out there to kill their competition and they didn't
There's
care who saw
literally
it.
articles about Larry
Yeah,
Bird and like how he would just trash talk the
that's what they
crap out
did.
of
They
people.
talk about
And
that.
I
Like when
think
you,
that, but
yes,
they get a moral, like they're like, oh, they're the greats, they're the greats. But as soon as a woman does it, I don't know, I'm just really
because
annoyed. And
that's
then,
not our place. But,
yes,
but
but
okay,
I'm like,
this generation too, just like Angel, they're tired and they're speaking up a lot more than the
yeah,
past generations. And so, yeah, she's going to be herself and she's setting up an example for little brown girls that are coming up after her to say like you can come out here and be who you are and it's fine because they were already saying she was getting like she said at the beginning of the season
that's what
because
pissed me
she
off
was
about those
showing
guys who they're like, I couldn't
aggression.
tell you a single LSU player because Kim Mulkey makes it all about herself. I'm like,
Yes,
then you
like you
just haven't
said,
been
clearly you
watching.
were not watching because that her blocking something with her shoe off that
Like that
made
was everywhere.
and then
So
she
sorry. That
like
just
did
really
like her
annoyed me. I
hand or
don't know who they
whatever,
are.
right?
Yeah.
So that is just, but it went to the next level to where I didn't like it. And I think they kind of like backtracked what they did, but the president, not the president of the
First
United
lady.
States, the first lady, by saying
She wanted both of
that
them to go
every
to the White
both of
House.
them to come, but the losers do not come, and just because they played hard. But they said a statement earlier today in the news because Joe Biden came out and said he can't wait to welcome the
LSU.
LSU and the UConn men. They won the championship on the
Yeah.
men's side, the UConn program, to have them both come. And he didn't mention Iowa, and so then someone from I think Jill's camp, said like she meant they were like she didn't mean it like that, but that's how it came out. And so like Angel and Alexis came out there on the internet and said we won't be going. And Alexis was even like, Michelle Obama, can we come to your house instead? Because that like belittles that. And
Yeah.
then
It totally
it's
does.
like you're tone deaf because hello, Iowa was mainly white. Caitlin is a white girl and then LSU had mainly blacks, and it was Angel Reese's black. And like you said, now it's bullying when Angel does it, but when Caitlin did it, it was fine, and she was getting praised for it. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, this
I think
whole
it's a
thing
big
is like
mess, but like, and
crazy.
I think that like that, I also like not to be dramatic, but I'm really mad that this is like setting the precedent, like because it has not been done before, that like now, like if it's not this, no one's going to be entertained. And I feel like that's not fair to the greats who are coming, and that's not fair to next year's winner. Like, I just feel like I hate that this is what's getting people on their radar. Like I hate, or like this is
Well,
what's getting people on like,
I hope that it's a teaching moment because Dawn Staley came out and said a lot because her team were called thugs and stuff because of how aggressive they played. And
oh yeah,
it's
I saw that.
like, why? And so she spoke up. And so I think it's bringing attention to it and people are talking about it. One, people are talking about women's basketball, women's sports. And I think more people are putting respect and more men athletes, male athletes that have a bigger platform or more people following that are standing behind these females, which is great.
Yeah.
I hope this continues to carry over and that people watch the game more. And I also, my cousin had posted something. I hope that people follow these stars into the WNBA and give more to the WNBA as well. Like, so Alexis Morris declared, she was a senior,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, but
Yes.
she's going to the draft. Aaliyah Boston from South Carolina is going into the draft. Um, the young lady from Stanford, I can't think of her name, but she's their best player too, who has also won a championship with them. She's going into the draft. So I hope we just follow and so that we can get more support into the WNBA as well, because they need that support as well. But I think it's great that we are getting those characters and attention in the college because that's where I follow my pro
I think
people
it's just
from the
is
college.
annoying that it's 2023 and we're still having to fight this fight. And
I
that
mean,
it's
we're still
like,
trying to
oh, I
fight
hope,
equal pay.
well,
So
yeah. But like, I think like, I mean, I don't know, like it just feel like
yeah,
we've talked about how our passion with sports and how it's America's pastime. Like, and I think it's just, my God, like we can't even have a good entrance into being accepted as athletes of all things. Like we
yeah,
have to make it about women against women. When Caitlin has been very supportive of Angel, has been like,
right.
she has every right to do what she has to. Like, could you? I don't know. Like,
And
maybe that's.
Alexis and them were went and spoke
And
because
they have
Alexis
like,
was like,
yes,
she's the best player. Like she was like starstruck.
like that's what I hate, that like they forget that, like, I mean, as much as I want to believe Peyton Manning and Tom Brady hated each other, I knew that they were friends, but like when they got on the court, it was, I mean, they got on the field, it was like great
Well,
versus
that was
great, like
everybody.
who's gonna win. And that's
Kobe
how I
was
feel
friends
like.
until he
But
came
they
across
expect
that.
when women are together that it's like, "Ugh, women can't get," like, no, these girls are probably gonna all like go hang out after, like maybe not
Yeah,
after, but you know, like they're gonna.
Caitlin and Angel were probably texting, and we're all America just sitting here like, that's so wrong. And why she do that? Caitlin,
Yeah,
she said
yeah,
it in her thing. She's not bothered by it because she has
yeah.
that respect. Because I feel like if you talk it, you probably can
She
take
probably
it.
did shit. She has two
They
brothers.
both
You know
have
she has to dish
played,
it.
right. They both have brothers. They both, well, I know Caitlin said she played on the AAU teams, the
Because there
males,
weren't
because there
any
were
girls.
no. So where do you think she learned it from? She had to take it because when you hang out with guys, you're stronger mentally,
Yep.
emotionally
Oh, I don't
anyway,
care.
because she had
Yeah.
to adjust to them,
Yeah.
So I do like that it brought attention, and I do hope that we continue. I'm glad that the president of the United States didn't say, yes, bring Iowa, because that would have been
But
a
I
whole nother
also think
thing.
that it's getting lost, and Louisiana Nabra posted about it, that like this whole story is getting lost. Like the whole thing with Jasmine Carson got lost. How she was on the bench. She was like, I feel like if you were listening to this and you were the one under the rock, but you found this podcast somehow, that she's not a starter. And she got off the
No.
bench because our team was in foul territory, and it was like, oh, we can't, foul danger. And they're like, you need to come up. And she came and scored 21 points. Like
We
like
had
everyone
most,
sat there and they were like, it was so like, so just to, sorry, I feel like I gotta be dramatic here. They, this whole time, and I'm telling you, like looking at my timeline, all I'm seeing is Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark,
oh
Caitlin
yeah,
Clark. And I was like, the LSU girls are seeing this too. They knew that they have something to prove when they go out there today. And then the whole time, like we are thinking it's going to be a Caitlin Clark just showdown. Like, woo, woo, woo. No, she gets in foul territory. And then all of a sudden, second half, Jasmine Carson lights it up. She comes in because Angel, I think, had three. I think Alexis had two or
she put it
three.
up from
Somebody, yeah.
the,
But all of a
they all
sudden,
came in playing
Carson
hard though.
came in and she is lighting it up on fire because she stayed ready. They interviewed her before they went into for halftime, and
Oh
she
yeah.
said, because I stayed ready and because I prepared for moments like this. And I'm like, this is such a
And she
great, like,
also knows her role for the
yes. And I
team.
feel like that is something, like if I was a teacher right now, like that's something I would want my young daughter, like my young girls to see, or just anyone in general. Like you got to stay prepared. Like, yeah, it's fun to be the starter. It's fun to be, sorry, that stupid hair I was talking about. It was fun to be like, it's great to be the star, but your time on the bench matters because you will have your moment. You will, but you have to stay ready. I feel like that is a
Yeah.
lesson that's getting lost in this stupid women versus women that doesn't need to exist. And
Well,
there's
yeah.
also the fact that this team was not supposed to be here.
No,
Like
right.
this is a group of like how many people? 9 new players on this team?
Well,
9. And
yeah,
I
they
think
were supposed to
that
be there, but I
they,
think on both sides too, because none of them, I think the whole tournament on both sides, men and women, showed you to stay prepared, and that just because
yes,
you weren't number one going
yes.
into you could
Yeah,
still win it
for the
because
men's,
there
there
was
wasn't a
number
single number one
one,
seed
right.
in the final
So
four
I think the
after
whole
Elite
thing
Eight, I
was
think.
good.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was something like
I
this that never happened.
yeah,
And
as you said,
then,
I could both of them
yeah,
making it. But yeah,
but
stay
yeah,
ready.
and then like for the LSU girl, like Kim Mulkey, year 2, you guys, year 2, she is still molding with these people. Half of them are freshmen. Alexis Morris is the only senior that we are I think are losing. Like we, like that is a story that's getting lost because it's gonna, like, they're just, I hate the media sometimes because they're just gonna make it like meh, meh, meh. It's like you were missing the Disney movie that's coming in like 25 years. Like, this is the story that no one, yes, she was one of the greatest, but she is the first woman to take two different organizations to a national championship and win. And she did it year two with like, and
Yeah.
she even said it after. And this is like where I hate, because I feel like these interviews got lost because it was all about the nonsense that, like, she, like, these are like a bunch of young teammates coming together, and the fact that they meshed, so like, that is beautiful. Like, I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
that,
And
the
they
fact
each
that
have
so
their
many
own
different personalities,
tragedies that
and it's not
did
like
it.
we have Angel Reese who's like in your face, I'm gonna talk some smack, get out of my way. And then there's Alexis Morris, who her alter ego is Lex Luthor, because all of a sudden she will just be cool, calm, and collected. And then, just like she did against who did we play in the final four? I can't remember now. But like, she lit it up in the fourth quarter, and then she lit it up against us in with Iowa. So it's like, there are all these stories that I feel like my journalistic soul is like, this is what needs to be written about. This is what needs to be told to our, like, everyone. But no, we're talking about smack talking that happens in literally every other any other sporting
Yeah.
event ever.
Yeah. No,
Right,
they
I'm
do. They
taking off
do
my
have some.
soapbox, and I just,
They do have some great storylines. And if you watch, which is a big thing that I love about sports, around games and those folks that tell those stories of the players, where you get to see a little inside. There was a great piece on Floje, where she is not only a college now championship in her freshman year, a champion in her freshman
he was
year, but
SEC freshman of the year too.
yeah, but she's also a rapper, like, and having
She's
a
America's Got Talent.
yeah, she has a record deal, and I think she's gonna be doing, a
Something with Lil
song with
Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Yeah, but she has a record deal before she came in, like, she had a choice to be a rapper,
Yeah.
or a basketball player, and she was like, she could do both, but people didn't believe that she could, but who did? Kim. Kim was like, "Come on." And so, I I I think that's a great story,
Yeah.
and then
And we didn't even have
Angel.
time to talk about Alexis Morris,
Yeah.
but that
I'm
stuff is
excited
getting
about
lost
her and
also.
will definitely be following her
I
in
know.
because she was one of my favorites watching LSU this year. Um, because I'm like, she's so quiet, like you just said, but she was like awesome. Like, she was a great
I
player
think
and
like it
she's
was
just so
great that you could have, like, I feel like the typical, like, or what we're taught to assume is like someone that cool and calm and collected would mesh well with somebody like
right.
Angel. Like,
Right,
you'd be
and
like,
that's
oh,
why we're
stop making it about, but she respects her, and she's like, that's her game. This is
yeah.
my game. And they
Angel
worked so well together
and
that,
Angel has a great personality too that we saw through where she was caring, like she was when another player on the other team was hurt when they were playing
Mhm.
Miami. She went over there and hugged the girl as she's going off, like, but they're in a timeout. Like, so I think Angel has a great personality too that
Yeah, I
people
think,
aren't paying
and that's what
attention
makes
to.
me,
And she's a
again, not
sweet
to bring up
girl,
those stupid men, but
but
I'm like, if you didn't know who Angel Reese was before Friday, before Sunday, you just weren't paying attention. You weren't doing your job,
and see, that's
because
where
she is a great leader
right.
on and off the court.
And that's where we mess up in America because why don't you get to know the person before you start passing judgment? Because you don't know someone's story or who they really are. You're seeing one part of them and then you're just labeling her when you
Yeah.
know nothing and then to drop that. But I'll be following definitely Alexis Morris going in and Aaliyah Boston to South Carolina was one of my teams that I thought was going to win it all, honestly. And I really wanted it to be LSU and South Carolina back battling it out. But it was a great game. And it was great for women's sport. And I think all of these young ladies in the last couple of years have and I'm going back to when Stanford won Arizona with when it was Arizona, is it Arizona or Arizona State? But when her and Dawn Staley played, them and South Carolina played, and it was the first two black coaches, I think, women coaches in the women's side.
Mhm.
But anyway, I think these women are definitely making a name for women's basketball. And it's just getting deeper with more of our more outspoken women that they need to be. Um, but so transitioning from that, because like Meredith said, we can go on and on about that because there's so much, and then just so many deep underlies lines with it all. But staying on the basketball, so we mentioned UConn won for the men's side. So just FYI with that, March Madness is over. Um, college basketball is done for now. But we are in the thick of the NBA where we're headed out. We have only 4 or 5 games that I think most teams have for the regular season. And then we get into the play-in parts of the playoffs. So play-ins, that's something that started new. I don't know if it started in the bubble or right after the bubble. Um, but you have to play in if you are below the 60, if you're 7 through 10. You have to do a play in to get in. 6 and above, you're automatically in the tournament at the end of this, if you're 6 or above at the end of the season. So we're getting close to that. For me, and we were talking before that going in, everyone knows that Meredith's team is the Dallas Mavericks, and she was worried about one game, and I'm like, girl, you got this. I'm over here worried about the Pelicans and the Lakers because we're like 11, 10 going back and forth. Well, now we're 7 and 8 because they have
And
been
we're
doing good.
11. And we're 11 or
Meredith,
12 because stupid Kyrie decided to foul Atlanta with one. I'm like, so for those of you who didn't listen to that last episode, I told Erin I was waiting to talk to her because I was like, we could be better. We could be better. And she's like, y'all are fine. And then what happened? We just kept losing, and it was like losing it like literally the last minutes. Like it, like of course, like as basketball can. And I just, and then
but I
there's that
think
whole like foul of like if Luca was gonna be like suspended because he got like his
Mhm.
16th technical. I don't know, but
But
Mark
and
Cuban
that's
needs
what's
to
been
work on
exciting
his.
about that's what's been exciting on the Western Conference is because it's been so up and down, and like you can't say for sure who is going to be in the playoffs because the Lakers have stepped up, LeBron's back, the Pelicans have been doing great. And so, but every game counts. So I'm like checking standings and watching what these scores are. Like I'm checking for my grades because it really, really matters. But there's at least 4 or 5, I think. I think the Pelicans, and I'm going by them, have 2 more home games and then maybe 2 or 3 on the road. So I think everyone's about there. So Meredith, depending on people who lose, you still could get into that 10. April 11th, we'll see. That's when the play-in starts. So 7 and 8 will play each other, 9 and 10 will play. That's how the play-ins go. The winner of one of those teams goes up to play one of the top into the playoffs, and then the loser and the winner of the 9 and 10 versus the loser of the 7 and 8 will play. So anyway, I know that's kind of like confusing talking about it, but they play their ways in by that. And then that's when it starts the playoffs where you have the best of, is it 5 or 7 now? I never remember till it
Is it
starts,
like
but
5 and then all of a sudden it becomes 7?
yeah, I think it's that. So you'll play the best of 5, but that play in, one, you win, you move up, you lose, you have one more shot, but then you're out, but you're playing a different team, so it's not the same team. And then the playoffs will start April 15th, and that's when it really, really gets interesting. So you'll want to pay attention then. And then our basketball season will be ending by June, by the middle of June or the beginning of June, or the middle, June 18th, I think, is the last one if there's needed, if it goes to like game 7 for that series. So that's where we are with basketball. I'm pretty excited. I'm watching it. Meredith's watching it too for her Mavs. She shouldn't give up yet though. But moving on from that,
This is why you don't get. I don't get attached. I can't get attached. I just.
We had the start of MLB that happened March 30th. So last week, like this week is already
Yes.
so fast. So last
Opening
Friday,
day. It was last Thursday.
Thursday.
Um,
Yeah.
yes. And this is always too early to tell really any predictions. Because just like many sports, you really don't really care until after the All-Star break, in July. But they introduced a few rules this year, to kind of make the game itself more appealing to the younger
If you thought it was
generation.
boring, maybe
Um,
this will help.
maybe too slow. I feel like boring is a strong
For
word, but
some
they're
people,
like, it could
yeah,
be
slow.
faster because we just have to keep things immediate and instant now. That there is
You're on a
now,
6-second time, but
right? It's like we get easily distracted and like what,
right,
like 30 seconds or something. So which is a whole like different like science conversation I would love to have with someone. But now we have clocks. We have a pitching clock. So now the pitcher has to pitch the ball within an amount of seconds, and they have like violations if they don't release the ball in time. The batter gets a ball, which therefore is in the batter's favor. However, they have I think a batting box or something now that if the batter takes too long to get back into the box, I think is what it is, they get a strike. And there's already been violation. Like we've had someone strike out because of one.
which
It's
that's going to
happened.
take some time
Yes.
to get used to for a
It's
player.
gonna take some time to get used to, but I'm not gonna, and I really didn't think, because I really do love baseball to like be the sport that you like to go to the bathroom and the guys still be batting. Um, but they did a side by side. I think Bill Simmons posted it and somebody else did, of like comparison to a pitcher last year, and it's like you take time, you look around, you get your call, you check to see if the guy on second or first is gonna steal, and then you're like, okay, I'm ready to pitch now. And it's like within the time of that happening, this like now, like present day, you have either struck them out, you have like they have hit the ball, you've made a double play, and now they're like in the dugout, all like while this person has not even thrown their second pitch. So it's just fascinating to see like just a little quick fix like that has
Yeah.
tremendously sped up the game, which I'm not, and we've talked about this before. A lot of my Astros players are on the West Coast. So those nights where it's a late game, and I'm just like, I just want we just need to
Girl,
have a winner. So part of
all
me was
of our
like,
West
maybe this will
Coasters
be
are not
helpful when
good.
they go and play the A's and the Dodgers and everyone over there.
Yeah,
But I'm
hopefully
excited to see. Oh, and they also changed the size of the bases.
so it should be safer for collisions when they
Yes.
steal and stuff.
Yeah.
But then also in the outfield, you
You
cannot move
can't
all of your
shift. Can't do
people
the shift
to one
anymore.
side. So people should
Yes.
be able to score a little bit better
And it's
because you
like
don't. So
that'll have
it's
to be its own episode, because I just feel like, because and again, I'm a 90s kid. I grew up on like when you went to the baseball park and you got to see a home run, it was like amazing. And like, oh my God, like this is so rare. And now you see it all the time. Like Jordan Alvarez hit his 100th with the Houston Astros. He hasn't even been with them that long. And I'm like, are
and
we back
Aaron,
here?
like his first game, I think he got one. Or that first series, didn't he get a Aaron
Who?
Judge? Aaron Judge?
Yes. Like his
He
first at
got a
bat, I think.
yeah,
He was the first home run of the year of the
yeah.
season. No,
So
of
maybe
course
he's
he
going
was.
to go for more. Speaking of Aaron,
Yeah.
so I am going to try and go to a Yankee game because I watched the CBS special on when they were talking about that. But the Yankees, I'm going for food. This is
Oh yeah,
how
they
I
have really good
travel.
stadium food. I want
But
to go to a Boston game. I want to go to a
I
Boston
want
game.
to go there too. They
I'll
have
look
a
into it.
99, it's called the 99 burger after Aaron Judge, but it's only available for the first 99 people that get into the ballpark. So it's like exclusive. So I'm
Oh, look
like,
at you.
I
Yeah.
want to have
How
one.
do you know that?
Oh, it was on CBS.
Interesting.
I watched CBS
Well,
mornings.
like, how do you know you're the one of the 99?
Oh,
Like 99.
because then they'll stop. Like if you get up and you're 100, they're like, there's no more. They're only
Like
making,
99 in line or 99 in like the park? Because like, what if I
well,
go in
it's
the park
only
but I don't get in line? So there's only 99
No, in
burgers?
the lot, like you have to go to, I
Okay,
think it's the
gotcha.
Legend. Like, so it's a certain stand and section in the ballpark where you go get these, and it's their like the ballpark's big chef. But
Okay, gotcha. I
yeah,
was
like
like,
so
wait,
you have
how
to
can they
order.
prove if I was one of the 99? That
No,
makes
no,
more
no,
sense.
like
Sorry,
going
that makes
up
more
to
sense.
buy it.
I
So
was like,
like if
what?
you're trying to get one, it's like when you walk in that gate, you better go because
Interesting.
if you're the 100th, you're not getting it. They're
I
only
feel like baseball food,
weekend.
this is like for girls like who just want a good, this is like the thing. Baseball is a sport. If you like don't care about the game whatsoever, that is the one to do because I'm telling you, you can just drink beer or wine. You could just,
And then you're sitting
it's
in
such
the
a
sun to tan
chill.
if it's a good
Yeah,
day.
like that is the sport to do it. I swear, like there's a whole,
Yes.
like I don't even like Sex in the City, but that was like a good episode where they were just like hanging out in the ballpark. And I'm like, that's exactly all I want to do. Like, I
But
mean,
don't
I
wear
like the
your
game
shoe.
too, but like,
Yeah.
right. But like, that's like, if you just, I
Yeah.
swear, if I lived in a city with like a major like team, like
Would
this
you
is
be
why I really want a hockey game. I really want a hockey team to come here because
and
like
they
I
should go
just think like those are best dates. Like that's gonna be the like you give me a hot dog and you give me like a sports game, I'm gonna be like, where's date number 2, bro? Like that's how
well
I feel.
and ladies, because we those that do not like sports, that would be a great date. That's a good point because
There's always like something on.
he will talk with you too because it's slow moments.
People
Um
watching.
people watching, but then you get to get beer, hot dog, all of that, and just relax. And that's at
It's
least
effortless.
2 to 3 hours of time together.
Yes,
Sitting.
exactly. You can tell a
So,
lot about you can tell a lot about a person at a baseball game.
so you guys, if a guy asks you, or maybe you
Should totally go.
suggested it,
Should totally go.
hey, yeah, let's go
I
to.
had a friend, and it's so funny. So my best friend, her now husband, I hadn't met him yet, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna take her to, I think I'm gonna take her to an LSU baseball game. Do you think Meredith would like that?" And my friend Megan was like, "Absolutely." And I like
Wait,
looked at her, and I was like, "Do you know like?" This is just a guy who's trying to impress me because I'm your best friend. But like guys who try to impress me to like actually impress me have not even cracked this code yet. So like, oh, maybe I should take Meredith to a sporting event and then she'd like really like me. I'm like, yeah,
so
I probably would pay a lot more attention to you because I'd be like, great. But yeah, so
yeah,
baseball is there and the greatest weekend of golf this year
yes.
because it is the Masters.
And that's
And
probably the biggest event happening for sports
yes,
because, like we said, it's still the end of the NBA, so we're not in the heat. Basketball's over. Baseball
beautiful
is
time.
just
Beautiful
getting
time to
started.
be on that course. Beautiful time.
Yes, and there's something happening this one that from
Yes.
previous conversations we've
Yes.
talked
This is
about.
all what it's all come down to. So the Masters or the green jacket ceremony, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is one of the biggest majors in golf in general. And I feel like I can't even say PGA anymore because they have opened it to the live golfers, which is, I know I've been calling it LIV this whole time. And I watched Full Swing, which everyone should watch on Netflix, even if you don't like golf.
I noticed that, so you learned that from that.
Yes,
Okay.
because they were like, live. And I was like, oh shoot, I've been like saying LIV on this podcast for like
I did too.
18 episodes, but okay. Well, like I just feel like it should anyway. But it's called Live. And so this is the time. So there was a lot of controversy last year of if live players are going to be allowed to play in some of the big majors and whatnot. So this time they are here. We have Phil Mickelson, we have Brooks Koepka, we have Dustin Johnson, we have all of them
Who left
and
to go
who
to
left to
live.
go. And
So
I will say for those of you who I was telling Aaron, I watched Full Swing and
on that,
they do on Netflix. It's like 8 episodes and it follows each episode is 2 different golfers. So it starts with like Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, who are like best friends. And then it goes like you get to do Patrick. Like there's just so many. First of all, like I think episode 5, or it was someone, Joel Damon is someone, he's not at the Masters this year, but he is like who I'm rooting for now. He's absolutely great. He's just like if your best friend all of a sudden became a pro golfer kind of person. Anyway, but they explained a lot of people who went to live and it basically is what it has what we've been talking about, like it is just more money. It's like a retirement tour. That's how my golf instructor put it in its perfect way. But basically, like Brooks Koepka went, and you see this in full swing. He's kind of like not as good as he once was. Like it's very like, but I have to support my family. I have to do this. So I'm going to go make all this money so I can still play golf. And so it's basically like your way out kind of tour. So that's why when Cam Smith went, I think it's very interesting. And now it kind of makes me think that he really did join it to be in Australia, because he's Australia, like, and money. But yeah, I look at it as a retirement tour. But anyway, so Phil Mickelson and the gang are back. But I was telling Aaron that it would not be golf if there wasn't some petty movement or decisions about throughout the weekend. So for those of you who don't know, the Masters starts Thursday, and it's like a whole week kind of thing.
It starts with 50 golfers.
Yes. So and it's, you all like go in groups. They like pair you with a few, and then I believe Friday is the day that there is like there's a cut line. So it's like the top 50 ties and all. So like, even if you're in 50, just because you're 50th doesn't mean you get chosen, because there could be like 3 people who have like 7 below or over, kind of thing. So there's a cut, and then there's Saturday and Sunday. And so you go in groups, and I was reading, and these probably don't mean anything to you, so I'm going to try to like find a group that is a thing. So like, for example, Max Homa, Scotty Scheffler, who is the defending Masters champ, and Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, and Tony Finau are, those are 3 different groups. But Max Homa is pretty well known, Scotty Scheffler is really well known, and Sam Bennett is and then Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, and Tony Finau. Both Jordan and Tony are featured in Full Swing, so they're pretty well-known golfers. So these guys are PGA. Those are 2 different groups, but like that's just an example of how they are paired together. So it's like people who want to watch that, like you. So for example, for you watching at home, you're probably going to watch the clip of Scotty Scheffler and Max Homa and Sam, because even though if you don't like watch Sam a lot, you know Scotty and you know Max, so I'm going to watch them. So I can like see 2 of my favorite players, or 2 good players at the same time. So like that's a cluster. Well, they took all the live people and just threw them with like random people. So example, this is literally an article. Patrick Reed, a past champion, is playing with Adam Svensson and Sahith Theegala. Not big names. And then it's like,
I don't want to watch that necessarily.
Exactly. And they 3 times master winner Phil Mickelson is placed with Tom Hodge and Siwoo Kim. Like we don't know them. So it's the fact that like I'm sorry, it's like these grown men that they're like, yeah, come play.
But we're still gonna highlight our PGA that stuck with us.
Yes. And I just love y'all. I'm sorry. I just really love that this is a thing. And
that would be crazy if one of the live people win.
We don't want to say that.
That would be crazy.
That's like Iowa winning. I'm just kidding. No, that's actually not like Iowa winning at all. Oh wait, sorry. Sahith was really good in Full Swing. He was in Full Swing too. He's the one who's golfing with Patrick Reed, who apparently is a past champion. But I was like, wait, I knew that name. So he was in Full Swing, but he was good. But he's like still building his name. So he's not he's not like a Max Homa, Scotty Scheffler, like that level. Right. So it's really just kind of, I just love that, like, it's not going anywhere. This is literally the sport. And watch Full Swing, because like Brooks Koepka, there's Ian something, he also left, and he left to go to live because so this is like a fast, sorry, I know that we need to wrap it up, but it's interesting because he like played in Europe. He was like a European golfer. And so this is something that I learned in Full Swing, that so the beginning of like any major or like any kind of tournament, you don't get paid until you make the cut. So like you don't make money on Thursday and Fridays until you get the cut to where you're like, oh, I'm 30th. Then you start getting your money, like based on like where you placed. So Ian, because he was getting old, I really think it's Ian, because he was getting older, he was obviously like not performing as well as he used to. And then he would be flying from like Europe to come play at Augusta or other ones. But like that's costing him money. And he's not even like, but he's leaving before he makes the cut. One time he missed the cut by one.
Oh man.
Like, can you imagine? Like, yes.
That's like
So
losing by 1 point.
yes. So like, there's like a clip of him just like throwing it in the locker room. And I was like, I don't blame you, bro, because I probably would too.
Yeah.
So like he was doing all this traveling and he wasn't making any money. So he was
Right.
like, and he did have kids, like he has like a team. And
At
so he's
some
like,
point
I
you
have to like, so like it kind of like it's like one of those like weird debates where you're like, oh, they make all this money, they're just doing it for the money. But then you're like, oh, well, this guy has like kids. Like it is kind of his like being like his way of life. Like he probably has to like keep it
which
up kind of
kind of goes
situation.
back to, I think there's both two sides to every story,
Yes.
which Full Swing gives you that other side that we weren't reading
I mean, I
from our
saw in
media.
PGA all the way, but it was
But
kind of
no, but you
enlightening
saw
to
where
like,
you could
oh,
say, oh, okay, I could see why you went, but
Brooks
dang, why
Koepka is a sellout to me. I'm just going to say that right now. Somebody tried to tell me that it painted them in a bad light, and I was like, no, I just think he's a bad light person.
well, and there's always some that still did it for the reasons we thought they
Yes,
did it, but to
because
know that there
yeah.
is other stories, that is
Well, I
interesting.
think so. Dustin is very like he'll tell you it's more
Yeah.
money, shorter schedule. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, which again, bringing back like I'm going to cheer for Angel Reese because she tells me exactly how it is. Like, I
Well,
respect
and you gotta
Dustin
do what's right
because
for you and
Dustin's
your
going to be
family.
like, yeah, I'm not
That
going to
was
like Phil
right.
Mickelson tries to give this whole like it's a new era, it's history, like blah, blah, blah. Like, no, Phil, you're like
Say what
retiring
it
and
is.
you need to make some money. Like,
Yeah.
so like I feel like Dustin, you at least have some respect for him because he's like, yeah, I left for money.
Whenever you're
Like whatever.
honest, you have respect for
Yes.
that
So I'm like, yeah,
person.
whatever. But like Brooks Koepka, it's like, no, bro, like he's young. I'm gonna look him up right now because the fact that like he's calling it quit like so early on, it's like
Mhm.
you could have still I'm sorry, let's see, how old is he?
Worked it out. He probably was just
He's
money.
my age. He's my age. 32
Well,
years old. So I'm like,
some people just
but
want
he's
it
already,
easy,
yeah.
though.
And that's why I was like, no, like, but he's like, I don't like how they're like painting me this way. And it's like, no, you did this. You let like anyway, but yes, everyone should full
On your own
swing.
boat.
Watch the Masters. I will be looking at it on my phone because I will be 7 hours ahead. But I think it's exciting time. This is a time to watch. There's gonna be some drama. You might not want to watch Phil Mickelson or anyone with the people who you don't know, but I don't know who I want to win yet. I would like to see Scotty do it again, but
You said that Tiger Woods, and again,
he is
that's
in
one
it.
of the
Tiger's in it.
things. I hope he
It-
does good because I know he's just
well,
been going.
it's speculated right now that this might be his last one. So,
And
yeah.
that's the biggest name I know. I know Phil Mickelson,
Mhm.
or however you say his name. But just what Tiger has gone through.
Yeah, and I think
But regardless, we want a PGA team to or a person to win
yes,
is where we're going.
we do.
But
That's
no,
exactly
I
what we're
gotta
doing.
check out that Full Swing because I do love those documentaries or those stories that give you that other side to players. Because like you said, you became a fan of someone.
Yeah,
I
like
love seeing stories because that connects you to some of these players and makes it more
yes,
interesting when you're watching because you know
yes.
a little bit
And
more.
they've talked about like the Joel Damons and like the Matt Fitzpatricks, like they said they all like they win something at the end of their episode, not to spoil it for you. But they like you kind of watch their journey to get there. But
Yeah.
like I would have never known about them if I was. And so Joel has been like, this is insane. Like people recognize me now. People are like, also Joel Damon, just for this is my last story, because we were talking about the cut line.
Mhm.
And he said that there is like this one tournament that he was like, oh, I'm not making it. I'm not making it. So he and his caddy, who is like his best friend, went and like just got drunk at the bar and like just bunt.
And then you
And
made
then
it.
he found out he made the cut and he had like a 9 a.m. tea time.
See,
But
that's why.
then, but then he goes and hits like 10 birdies, which is one below par for those everyone. Like, so if you're supposed to, you have a par 3, that meant he like
That
hit a
means you
2.
have to get it in by 3 shots.
To hit par, you had to hit it by 3. So a birdie is one below. So he like say it was a par 3, he hit it in 2 shots. Like it's hard,
So
like
maybe he should go get drunk after.
that's exactly right. I was like, this is probably the last person who should be encouraged to do that. But no, it's going to be really exciting. This is like a fun time of year that all the sports are happening. And then like Aaron mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it, but we're getting ready for the NFL draft. So NFL
Yeah,
is going to about to be in the
in June.
rotation. So
No, that is in April. This
yeah.
month.
Oh, God.
Oh crap. Man, time is like really flying. I'm like June, but no, June is the NBA. But yes, so we'll be looking at that. The draft day is coming up. And there's lots of talk about quarterbacks and stuff. So we'll dig into that because there's been some big changes with that. But yeah, it's just a great time at sports. I mean, you got the great weather out. Again, baseball you can go enjoy, and then just the height of basketball getting to that point. So yeah, and then
Good
golf.
times.
Yeah,
Go.
so pick something to watch. You have basketball going on, but definitely at least follow along with the golf, see what's happening with the Masters this weekend. We'll report back and see if it was a PGA person or a live.
Or check our Instagram because I'm sure we're going to share some things.
Yes. Oh yes, we'll definitely share. And there's some stuff on there about Angel Reese and the women's basketball now. So if you missed any of that, but yeah. But thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Meredith, for taking some time. Meredith is going on a trip, so I'm sending her positive vibes and blessings for safe travels.
Send me
But
sleep vitamins, everyone.
yeah, we got to get her some sleep vitamins because it's overseas, so she will be on that plane for a while. But she made some time to come chat with us because, like we said, we
Always.
have so much to talk about, so much happening. So yeah, so thank you for joining. Please like and subscribe. Follow along with us. We are coming back uh with more stuff. Again, things are picking up. We're getting back to football. So, that's like really our time of the year, but some stuff is going on now, as we just said. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Whoop, whoop.
Bye.